There's even something more interesting about cucumbers and beauty pageants in Nigeria. There's even something more interesting about cucumbers and some women in Nigeria. Women like my mother look at a cucumber and she will eat it like this. You know, when you're not very well and so conscious of how you eat, it's like hanging out with long lost friends. You know, those friends you haven't seen for 17 years and then you suddenly meet somewhere? You do not have to have decorum to catch up on old gist, do you? You don't have to be all stiff in sharing your stories, do you? You relax, like Walter was saying, like that young man was saying. You are so incredibly relaxed and you are as cool. It's a cucumber. You look at your friends, your old friends, eyeball to eyeball, and you talk to them like what they really are. Long lost. Okay, so quickly. Every time you are making your presentations, the basis behind looking at people's eyes is to imagine that they are long lost friends. When you do that, professors suddenly become playmates on the playground. I remember the first day I told Suni, you are making presentations today, and I do not give the privilege to our team members sometimes to know when they are making presentations. I'd say, this thing is coming up next and you are doing, you should have told me yesterday to prepare. You've been preparing all your life. You've been preparing all your life. And yesterday I mentioned that, you know, today there's a lot of fight and jostle for attention. And this attention is key. There's a lot of this that is free, available on the internet and available at other very cheap presentation trainings in Lagos that I think you can attend and learn a lot of these things. That's not the purpose for this week. This week, we're deliberately looking at a lot of the things that you have been doing unconsciously so that what we promised you would happen, where we said that there are 36 unconscious mannerisms, habits, that the most profound speakers exhibit on platforms. And that's what we want to layer in you, but we first need to extract all of the presenter that you have become that keeps being your undoing. So that when you stand on the platform, your message is clear, it's crystal, you get people's attention first off. And talking about attention, if you watch videos on YouTube, if you go to some of these other presentations, you see a lot of how to catch people's attention. Because they say, as they say, that first 2 minutes, the first 1 minute is very important. If people can connect with you the first 1 minute, so you bring a cucumber and they are wondering, And how many of you realize that the presentation had nothing to do with a cucumber? It didn't, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be. But you find a way how to connect everything. And some of us, I think, are extremely good at this. We can begin to be even more purposeful with it and add that to all of the things that we're learning here. There are a lot of things about presentations. We're not teaching you everything this week, but we're looking at some of the key things. Someone said there used to be a lot of riots when she speaks and other people are enjoying except her. I personally feel that the most profound change that people require is on the inside. So you go to a lot of presentation trainings, and what is being taught is presentation skills and strategies on the outside. But what is running riot is running riot within the person. We call them internal inhibitions, internal blocks. That's what's stopping you. Some people have come from a background where there were no blocks, so they need the skills on the outside. So the skills on the outside is not altogether useless. Some people, by virtue of some journeys life has taken them on, they've dealt with some of the blocks. So they don't need the NLP approach necessarily. Like I said at level 1 recently, NLP is not the only way. It's just that the change that happens when you use these methodologies are so profound and immediate. Do we understand that? So there's a lot to learn about presentations. Your journey is just beginning this week. The journey towards mastery and artistry will take you a lifetime. How many of you have committed to that journey? Say aye. Aye. Good.
Innocent Mind.